Okay. Well, the Biden administration is rolling out a new income-driven student loan repayment plan, touting it that it will save thousands of dollars. And it comes as millions of borrowers prepare to restart those payments after a 3-year pause. The saving on the Valuable Education or SAVE plan helps lower monthly payments based on how much money you make and replaces the revised pay-as-you-earn plan. It's a beta website. It is now available to borrowers. And according to the Department of Education, under the new SAVE plan, borrowers earning $32,000 or less and families earning $67,000 or less will not owe on loan payments. Unpaid interest will not grow if a borrower is making monthly payments, and it removes spousal income for borrowers who are married and file separately. The plan also comes after the Supreme Court, as you know, blocked President Biden's plan to forgive $400 billion in student loan debt. Here to talk more about it, Associate Professor of Accountancy at the George Washington University, Kyle Welsh. I'm having a hard time talking this morning, which is unfortunate because this is what I do for a living, but we'll get through this. I'll let you do some of the talking. Okay, is this a way around the Biden student loan forgiveness plan? I mean, what is this website?
This is a more reasonable solution than the previous one offered, I would say. Regardless of political party, if you actually look at what's being offered here, they're looking at offering relief for people that are around the poverty level guidelines, right? And so the relief that's being offered is not the huge amount that was trying to be pushed through and ran through in the future. And it solves definitely a problem for families that and individuals that are in a tough situation, but it doesn't resolve the source of the problem. And the source of the problem is that we have higher education that is evaluated on who they don't allow in their schools as opposed to who they allow in. And it's not outcome-based measures that they use. And so part of the problem needs to go back to the universities. If we really want to solve this problem, universities need to take ownership. But this solves a problem for families that are struggling, that are coming back on to making these payments that are used to not making these payments.
Well, it solves the problem if they can figure out how to use it, right? So one of the criticisms is it's always been really confusing. How do you access some of the data to submit your information? Is this less confusing?
Yeah, it's, I would say, as somebody that's filed for student aid and filed for aid and these other things, it's no less confusing than that. So the confusion that they had in filing the loans and all of that, it's not any more complicated than that. And there's a financial incentive to do it. And so I think this is kind of like a happy medium in between the left and the right as far as like what it's planning to solve. It would be great. Oh man, it'd be so great if the administration would do something about the accountability of universities and degrees that are not increasing human capital, but we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, and we might not for a while. What about those who had to pay hundreds of dollars while making a low income? Is there anything they can do to make up for lost money in such a critical time? I mean, can they be taken into consideration? How does that play into it?
Yeah, so it's important to note that this is an income-based repayment plan. So what gets highlighted in the press and the news is easy things to measure, like what is zero payments. But there is moderation with your income as you go. So it's worthwhile for anybody that is in this bracket that is concerned about it to fill out the application for it, because we've always done income-based repayment programs as far as the country goes, and that's already existed. This is just a moderation of that and expansion of that a bit. And so if you're concerned about it, if one of the viewers are concerned about it, they should apply for it either way, because most likely they will qualify for something.
And what would be your advice, having gone through it and watching sort of the complicated ways we're trying to get out of a big problem for people who are applying to college now, getting ready to take on some big debts?
The most important thing is look at your future 5 years out and see how your credential, your degree is going to impact your income. And that is absolutely an important thing to look at. I teach accounting, so naturally, my students that are graduating the program, it's not like they like accounting, but I mean, it's one of these things that they're pursuing because they want to have an income afterwards. And it's very important for students as they're pursuing degrees is to look at the human capital that they're building and realize and know the choices they're making. When you kind of get this money, it feels kind of like funny money. And eventually you have to pay for it. And so it's very important that you have a plan and program and strategy for seeing how this credential is going to increase your human capital. And if you're going to make a bet with money on a degree, it better have a payoff for human capital, because if it doesn't, you're going to end up in a bad situation 5, 10, 20 years out.
Well said. I'm glad you did the talking. Kyle Welsh, nice to see you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.